Good day and welcome to King William Rules Everything. Today we're going to be starting our new project. We're going to be building a Pacman arcade cocktail table replica. We're going to try and duplicate it as much as possible, pretty close to the same dimension. It'll look the same. I actually found somebody had created some nifty documents with some cool dimensions on it, so you can duplicate it exactly. We're not going to follow that. We're going to do our own thing. But the dimensions will be pretty close and it'll look just like an original arcade cocktail table. I've done a few things already and I'll put some dimensions on later on. Actually, I'll put a link to that document down there if you want to do exactly what they've done. I don't see the need to do that. I like to make things as simple as possible and it'll look perfect. We've already done the base, and this will be covered by wood at the end so you really won't see it. But it's basically just a piece of plywood, some 2x4s and some smaller caster wheels. I like the smaller ones because you put big ones on, then you raise it up so high and you can get your feet under there. I like the little ones because even on carpet this will be okay. So I think this is the way to go with this guy. We've got the two sides, these are the inner sides, so there's really not much on this except some vents. So we got these guys cut out, there's two of them. And one of the most important parts is the top, and it's just basically a rectangle with some nice round corners. We're going to tidy them up later, and then just kind of show you what we have on here. We have the reproduction tempered glass. You have different colors. You can get like a tinted one or just a clear one. I like the clear one because we're going to have some artwork underneath this guy, so we don't want to cover that up. And later on what we'll do just a special video showing how to make the T-slot for the T-molding. That's kind of very critical. You want to get that just right. You screw that up, you might as well throw that out and start over. But what we'll do next on part two, we'll go in the basement and we'll kind of cover some of the pieces and parts that go, the electronics that go inside this. We'll show you the JAMA board, the harness, the buttons, that kind of thing, the power supplies. So till next time, King William, rule everything. Good day and welcome to King William Rules Everything. This is part two of our arcade cocktail cabinet build, and I'd like to go over just some of the parts that we're going to be using. This is mostly electronic parts, some mechanical things, but mostly electronic parts. A lot of this stuff you can get on eBay or Amazon. I get a lot of stuff off on eBay, a lot off on Amazon. It just depends on what you're looking for. Some of the weird stuff you'll have to go to eBay. There's people that actually make reproduction parts, or they do graphics and stuff like that. But the main part is the JAMA board, and if anybody knows JAMA parts, they might know what this guy is. It's kind of something maybe naughty, maybe not, but we're not going to be using this. This is another project for later on. This is the one we're using today. It's kind of small, which is very surprising, but this is actually, if you look online, Amazon, eBay, all the arcade shops sell this board. It's a little 60-in-1, so it has games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Ms Pacman, Galaga, just the original like 60 games. So that's what you're going to get on this guy, and it's very small for what it is, which is really surprising. So when you stick in your cabinet, you don't need a lot of space for this guy. And this one, I believe, is maybe 60 bucks, 40 bucks, depends on where you get it from. So it's not a lot of money for what it is and what you get. The other thing, we have buttons. I get these all over the place. These are dirt cheap. These are arcade replacement buttons. I like all different colors. I haven't decided what I'm going to use on this one yet, but it'll be a little surprise towards the end. The other main part is the JAMA harness. That's what you're going to use to connect your board to all your buttons. So you use this little connector here, plug him in, and then every one of these little wires has to go to a button or a joystick. And that's kind of where the fun part is, wiring this all up. Sometimes it's a little confusing, depends on how many buttons you're going to be using. This one's kind of easy. We have 2 joysticks and 4 buttons, so this one's not too bad. So a lot of these wires won't be used. The JAMA harness has some other neat things to it. If you want to use an actual real arcade monitor, you can use this little plug here. And all the power comes through this guy. There's actually 4 pins that provide the 5 volts, negative 5 volts, 12 volts. Which I can't find the power supply. I have no idea where it went, so Maybe what I'll do, I'll just put a little picture on here of that so you can see what that looks like. We're trying to use all just basically real arcade parts, nothing arcade. We have a whole bunch of these harnesses. They're nice to have. I specifically like this one here as opposed to this guy. This guy is all in Chinese, so it makes no sense to me. But this guy has a little white label on it showing what every pin goes to, like if it's ground or spare voltage, so it makes it kind of hard to screw this guy up. And what we can do, we'll give you another little close-up of this guy. One of the other fun parts is coin door, because we want to make money off this. What's the point of making an arcade cabinet if you don't make some money? So, your friends come over, have a drink or two, hey, put some quarters in, pay the king. He deserves it. And this is it's a really nice door. It's there's some little cheap parts, but it's a really nice door. And something like this is maybe $50, and you're going to make money off it. So spend the money. The harnesses, I think you can get them all over the place. They're like $7, $10, $20. I buy them like from AliExpress out of China, and they're like maybe $5 a pop. So not a lot of money for these. So I like to keep an extra one because sometimes you want to maybe add an extra button or something, and you want some extra wire so you can snip off pieces off of here and you reuse some of this. So it's nice to keep a spare one just to have some extra pieces. This is kind of the fun part here. This is actually a reproduction Ms Pacman console. So it'll kind of sit like that, and I don't have the holes cut out, but the player 1 and player 2 buttons will be here, the joystick, and there's a couple fire buttons, 2 fire buttons. So it's I got this off of eBay, so it's not really a Ms Pacman one, but I think I paid maybe $10 for the set. And it's pretty nice for what it is. It's just the overlay, and it gives you kind of like some nice quality. The metal panel, I'm thinking, was maybe $30, and later at the end I'll put together a parts list showing exactly what everything costs. We're not spending a lot of money on this for what it is. It's mostly labor. The other fun part we have, and kind of give you a hint what's going to happen at the end, this is the T-molding. We'll do just a special episode just on making the T-slot, and this will be the last part to put on is the molding, but we want to get the T-molding routed out. That way, early on, we don't screw up a part that we painted and did all the work to. I want to get the wood cut, sanded nice and neat, and then put the T-molding in, or the T-groove in, and then at the very last we'll put this guy in. So this will be almost like the icing on the cake. And we also have some nice speakers. I got these off of Amazon. These are maybe $10. Not very expensive, but these are really nice. I actually use some of the bigger ones. So these are, I think, 4-inch, 6-inch, 4-inch, whatever they are, and 6.5 inch. So these are kind of nice. But these are going to go on those. If you watch episode 1, the 2 panels that I cut out, these guys are going to go in that. So each player will have their own little speaker so they can hear what's going on, and we want it to blast. So we actually got a amp for these guys, so we can really crank that sucker up. And that's basically the majority of the pieces and parts. We have a lot more. Actually, we have a little something fun that I'm going to save this to the very end. This is some artwork I had done, and it's going to kind of tie it all together, and you'll kind of see the finished product when this guy goes on. But it's basically all we have for today. There's a lot more pieces and parts that we can look at, but this is the main stuff. The JAMA board, the harness, the control panel, the buttons, the joysticks, those kind of things. So, and the other part we really want to need, this is kind of a neat part, the monitor. You could use like a flat panel monitor from a computer if you want. Those work great. I kind of chose for just like an industrial flat panel. This is just it has a little VGA port, so you can just plug the JAMA board straight into this with the VGA cable. This is came from AliExpress in China. These are very pricey if you get from the US. They're the same thing that they sell from China, except this I believe was like $90 versus like $300. So it kind of made a difference to make go through China, and there's free shipping. I've used actually TV flat panels for displays like this one behind me, and also little Dell 17-inch monitors, and those work fantastic. But this one we want to kind of mount it. That's what these little ears are for. So instead of making a whole bunch of different brackets, we can just use this guy, mount them to the tabletop, and we're good to go. Thank you for watching. King William, rule everything.